Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the work of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda, picking up from where we left off last week. Guyana's beauty must be showcased so that the country can earn more through tourism. This statement from Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Unit Walren, during a visit to Lake Kapui in Region 2 on Friday last. Minister Walren says tourism has proven to be a major economic earner for a number of countries.
Countries like Dubai, which I just came back from, they built their entire economy on tourism. Tourism is now a multi-billion-dollar industry in Dubai, and they continue to advance it and refine it, especially in this pandemic. Guyana needs to be showcased, to showcase this beauty, to showcase the people, to show to the rest of Guyana that this is what they're missing out.
The minister says the PPPC government will continue to support tourism and will ensure that accompanying infrastructure is put in place. The government remains committed to ensuring farmers affected by recent flooding get the support they deserve. To this end, Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Nigel Darmlal in the last week spearheaded government's flood relief cash grant distribution exercise in Port Kaituma Region 1.
This is the type of government that you voted for, where when you're in trouble, when you're in problems, despite all the challenges we have as a government, we still have to help our people.
Minister Darmlal says agriculture is the most important sector in the country and the such government is committed to investing heavily in this area. Whether it is for business or pleasure, citizens and visitors alike can soon expect more competitive options for air travel between Guyana and Barbados. This comes as Intercaribbean Airways on Friday last launched its new route, which seeks to tap into the growing interest for regional travel with Guyana as focal point. Something Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgell is pleased about.
Guyana will begin on December 17th to benefit from 12 weekly round-trip flights from Intercaribbean, Guyana, Barbados, Barbados, Guyana. The sustainability of this project is also very important. We want you to stay in the market. We want you to grow, even if there are other competitors.
Minister Edgell emphasized that Guyana's engagement with Intercaribbean Airways is part of a wider effort by the Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali-led administration to position Guyana as a crucial hub for air travel. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deedat Indar, also lauded the airline's presence, noting that this was possible due to collaborative efforts across numerous agencies to allow the airline a position in Guyana's market.
This launched this testament that, one, Guyana is opening up back, two, the region is also opening up back, and that the COVID-19 pandemic that created a lot of worries, especially for the aviation sector. Certain parts of the world in the aviation sector is starting to recover, but slowly. And this is testament to that recovery.
Approximately 80 families at Zealat East Bank Essequibo will receive certificates of title for their land, a part of the PPPC government's comprehensive housing program, within 3 months. This was related to them by Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Mohabir Anil Nandalal during a meeting there on Friday afternoon.
By January, we should be coming back here with approximately over 80 odd titles, so that 80 families in the 2 phases will eventually receive their certificate of title for their land.
Minister of Housing and Water, the Honorable Colin Crowell, said the matter goes way back to 1997, when the Guyana Sugar Corporation issued a block of land to the Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Fund, which was established to provide housing solutions for the families of sugar workers.
I would have, about 3 months ago, received a letter from a concerned resident here of Zealat, and then similarly, same letter but written separately, a letter would have been written to His Excellency President Mohamed Irfan Ali, But the real genesis of that letter is that as the community here focusing on Zealot 1, and I understand there's a phase 2, is the issue of ownership of your land.
We apologize for the delay, but life must go on, and we are here to regularize it. Regularizing it involves a process. So we now have to move the title from the Sugar Welfare Fund. They have the bulk, the big title. We now have to subdivide it, and we have all the plans already drawn. All of your lands are on this plan drawn out already.
The ministers also heard and addressed issues faced by the residents after the meeting. Minister Kroll said the PPPC government will continue to address issues faced by the Guyanese people as quickly as possible. From Zealot East Bank, Essequibo, I am Kimal King, DPI.
Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, has delivered on a promise made to senior citizens in Fort Wellington. In August, the Finance Minister had met with and listened to the concerns of citizens who had been awaiting their pension for many years. On Saturday, Minister Singh was happy to have delivered on that promise at the National Insurance Scheme's Fort Wellington office, West Coast, Berbice.
There is this perception that the NS is not as responsive to its contributors and its pensioners. And so, as the minister responsible for this sector, I initiated, in keeping with His Excellency the President's instructions that all of these institutions be modernized in the way they interact with citizens, I initiated a series of outreaches. And we've now had them in regions 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm very happy that we've gotten to a point where I would say, I think the numbers that I've been given indicate that perhaps about 80% of the issues that were raised. There are people who have been waiting for years to get their pension. That is not acceptable.
Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai has advised residents of Barometer Region 1 to make use of the fertile land in their community to develop and cultivate agricultural produce. The minister gave the advice while handing over a $4.8 million tractor and trailer to the village on Friday last.
Many communities still bring quite a lot of vegetables, whether it's green or ground, from Georgetown or from someplace else. When you can have fertile land developed, cultivated, and supply the need for local food in your community.
The tractor will be used to boost agriculture development, forestry and transportation of goods and services in the community. Minister Sukai also told the residents to use the machinery for the expansion of food security in the country. A suicide prevention bill, which aims to amend current laws in Guyana regarding suicide, has been drafted and will be tabled in the Parliament soon. Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, made this disclosure on Monday during his address at the opening session of the Guyana Mental Health and Wellbeing Conference. The minister explained that the laws regarding suicide in Guyana are outdated and as such, it is necessary to have these laws re-evaluated. Guyana's Criminal Law Offences Act, Chapter 80197, imposes jail time for persons who attempt suicide. The existing law labels attempted suicide a misdemeanor, and the individual is liable for 2 years imprisonment.
When you look at our laws are really dated. Goes back to the time of the British and even, in the 1930s. And you might know that part of those laws, if you attempt suicide in Guyana, then you can be jailed for at least 2 years. And that is still on the books. We haven't used it for a while, but from the stats that you've seen, for every person who commits suicide, there are at least 20 persons who would have attempted suicide. So technically, if we have 147 persons who died of suicide over the last year, then multiply that by 20 and you can see how many people would have ended up in jail.
The minister recalled that over the last 4 years, there were discussions in Parliament when the Pan American Health Organization was trying to take the lead on raising awareness on this matter, but nothing was done at that time. Contracts to the tune of approximately $750 million have been awarded to 13 contractors for the construction of 100 homes in Williamsburg, Hampshire, Quarantine Berbice. A contract signing ceremony with Chief Executive Officer of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, Sherwin Graves, was held last Saturday at the Berbice Chamber of Commerce office, Rose Hall Town, Berbice. Minister Kroll, during a site visit to Williamsburg, explained that persons will be selected from the agency's database based on their interest in acquiring built units.
The process actually starts when you're applying, because sometimes when you're applying, you indicate whether you would like for the allocation of the lot or if you have a preference for the houses. And so we go back into our system and we identify such persons who have indicated. We make that offer. Once the necessary information, we do a pre-check to see if they can be able to pay for that cost, and then we pass that on to the bank. And then if they can pre-qualify, the list is there.
Great care went into ensuring that the draft amendments to the Representation of the People Act, which were recently publicized, do not give anyone an electoral advantage. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Mohaber Anil Nandlal commented on the draft amendments during an interview with NCN on Monday.
These amendments are not intended, and great care and circumspection were employed to ensure that is clear. They are not intended, they are not designed to give any political party an electoral advantage. I want to make that abundantly clear.
The Attorney General warned that legislative changes alone may not be enough to fend off attempts at electoral malfeasance, given how some provisions were deliberately misrepresented during the 2020 elections.
Whatever weaknesses were in the law, they were exploited to their hilt. Wherever there was discretion, it was abused. Wherever there was latitude, interpretive latitude, it was vulgarized. Wherever there was an opportunity to bend the law to the repulsive end, it was exploited. These amendments, in the main, are intended to address those exploitations, absurdities, and vulgarities which were revealed during that 5 months period.
The Legal Affairs Minister is encouraging the public to take an interest in the amendments in the period leading up to the document's introduction into the National Assembly, since the issues concerned are of national importance. The ongoing construction of works of 2 major roads in East Berbice, Quarantine Region 6, will soon open up 50,000 acres of prime farmlands. The asphaltic farm-to-market roads are being constructed at number 52 and 58 villages on the Quarantine coast. On Saturday, Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, led a team to the locations to assess the work progress.
The initiating of these 2 projects by this government is directly as a result of an engagement that the President and the leadership of the government, including at the regional level, the chairman and the vice chairman, have had with the community and with stakeholders in the community, including the private sector.
The thoroughfare at number 52 village was awarded for $230 million, while the other at number 58 village was valued at some $640 million upon completion.
These 2 projects are going to play an extremely critical role in opening up new lands for agricultural cultivation. The government's position at the highest level, at the level of the President and at the level of the Cabinet, is that all of these projects are expected to progress swiftly and on schedule and in keeping with specifications.
Minister Singh also assessed the $100 million Molson Creek to El Dorado Road project. Construction of a new Bamia primary school to the tune of $346 million will begin soon. The school will be able to accommodate up to 800 students from Bamia and surrounding communities. The contract for works to begin was signed on Monday at the office of the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Darmlal.
This contract is expected to be completed within 20 months. So we expect by 2024 that students are going to be housed in this school and it will be operable to its full capacity.
Minister Darmlal also urged the contractor to complete the project on time and to also employ persons from the region on the project. He said an engineering firm was also contracted to provide supervision during the course of the construction. This now brings the total project sum to $366 million.
Part of the vision of His Excellency is to ensure that whatever resources we place into different regions, that employment creation is one of those outcomes, as well as wealth generation. So this is not just an investment in a school alone, but is also an investment in the wider economy of Region 10.
The Maracaibo Safari has returned after being placed on hold due to the pandemic. Though usually held in February, this year the safari was held from the 5th to the 7th of November and saw 7 off-road vehicles embarking on the drive through the wetlands.
Maracaibo Sand Safari allows us to further develop our adventure product. Guyana is known as an adventure, nature-based destination, and this abodes well for the product that we have. Maracaibo is one of the communities that we've been supporting here at the Guyana Tourism Authority.
With the GTA's support, Maracaibo has been able to launch recently the Ubudi Lodge. 9 other communities are similarly being supported by the GTA. The journey to Maracaibo by road takes roughly 6 hours, where safarians drive around the source of the Maikoni River to reach into the village. As the process of electoral reform continues, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal says government has recommended the subdivision of District 4 or Region 4 for better management and accountability. Whilst detailing the major amendments the government has proposed to the Representation of the People Act, Minister Nandlal explained that the subdivision of the country's largest electoral district is of grave importance. He said this will avoid a recurrence of the grueling events that took place between March and August 2020.
District number 4 is a special district in the electoral equation of our country. It is the most populated district. It always has the greatest number of controversy. So what we are proposing in these amendments, we are subdividing it into 4 units. So you have the East Bank, you have the East Coast, you have North Georgetown, you have South Georgetown.
Minister Nandlal noted that this compartmentalization will allow for each sub-district to operate independently, acting as a district by itself.
Each one is compartmentalized in terms of staff, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of regulation and rules and system and procedure, as if it is an electoral district by itself.
This means that there will be 4 returning officers for the district, which allows for decentralization and higher levels of accountability within the electoral process, the minister noted.
When you have them together, we saw firsthand what the possibilities are for wickedness.
30 ranks from the Ghana Police Force have commenced a 4-day training on gender-based violence. The Legal Literacy and Access to Justice to End Gender-Based Violence initiative is being spearheaded by Marunda Incorporated and the Canadian High Commission. Over the 4-day period, the ranks will undergo training in 6 modules. Residents of Paramakatoy and surrounding communities will soon have improved health services as the Paramakatoy Hospital will be upgraded under the Smart Hospitals initiative. A contract for $44.4 million was signed on Tuesday at the Ministry of Health. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony explained that though the Ghana Defence Force is not traditionally known for such projects, it does have a strong engineering core and therefore will take lead on the project, and once successfully completed, it can open new avenues for future projects.
We are in this process of checking all of our facilities, reviewing them, and as part of this particular project, apart from building out the infrastructure, we also did assessments. So we were able to do assessments for about 80-something facilities. And of these facilities, we know exactly what we want to do with them. You know, how to make them more climate resilient, to prevent flooding, to utilize the water that we get from rainfall rather than it just, seeping away. And also, of course, we're in the tropics, so we want to use the sun.
Ministers of government participated in a sod-turning exercise at Providence for the first ever Hyatt Place Hotel Georgetown.
The hotel is scheduled to open in 2024 and will include amenities such as different guest room options, disability outfitted rooms, restaurants and bars, meeting rooms, social lounge, fitness centers, pools, internet and communication links, room service and guest laundry, along with spacious parking areas. SIR Chairman Imtiaz Ahmad said the project will provide many job opportunities, both in the construction phase and in the operation phase.
The 125-room hotel will be situated on approximately 3 acres of prime land on this location, creating employment for approximately 300 persons during the 20-month construction phase. At the time of opening, we expect another 80 to 100 people to be fully employed. And without a doubt, and you can remember I said this today, without a doubt there will be opportunities for local partnerships. Partnerships which will result in huge dividends for the country and the people of Guyana.
Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, thanked the company for choosing Guyana as an investment destination, given the growing demand for hotel rooms here.
It's an open secret that international visitors coming to Guyana can't find a hotel room. We have international delegations saying to us they cannot get a hotel room. I wish to thank you very much for recognizing Guyana's tremendous potential as a destination for investment. I want to congratulate you and thank you for recognizing Guyana's potential in that regard.
Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Onij Warren, said she expects that much of the employment opportunities that will come from the construction and operationalizing of this hotel will be provided to Guyanese persons residing right here on the east bank of the Demerara.
In a matter of days, this location will be a job site, or shortly. The construction of this hotel is expected to create up to 300 jobs, and we expect that much of that workforce will come from right here in the surrounding communities on the lower East Bank. Once in operation, the facility is expected to employ 70 to 80 persons. Once again, many of whom we expect to come from right here in the vicinity of the hotel.
The government of Guyana stands ready to work with investors for the sustainable development of the country. From Providence, with videographer Kenyan Bacchus, I'm Kimal King, DPI.
The Circumstances Unit of the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has been actively assisting vulnerable groups and families in communities across the country. The unit, Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, says caters to amongst most vulnerable and is accessible to anyone in need. Minister Prasad made the disclosure on Wednesday during a community outreach to Ankerville, Port Morant.
The ministry has many units. One of those is the Difficult Circumstances Unit that deals with persons who are, as the name suggests, experiencing difficulties in life. They could be single parents struggling, maybe they have no source of income. It could be somebody who probably had a death in their family, cannot do the burial. We help with funeral expenses. It might be someone who had serious loss to their business and maybe they need a stove, maybe they need some small thing to start back. So there are many areas of help.
Minister Prasad reiterated that it is the mandate of the PPPC administration to care for and protect its citizens, especially during the pandemic. Dining is an essential element to the tourist experience. This was outlined by Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Unit Walren, as she officially launched Restaurant Week 2021.
All of the restaurant owners that are represented here, that the experience, the culinary experience, the dining experience adds to the hospitality and adds to the value of this destination, Guyana, that we are promoting. We have the talent, we have the capacity, of course. We invite the chefs who have that kind of experience to come and train our local establishment, help just give them ideas. And it was amazing what our local people were able to do with just 2 or 3 days of culinary training. But as government, as we continue to look to tourism, already tourism is the 3rd largest export earner for Guyana outside of oil and gas and gold. And that means that it's a sustainable way in which we can continue to earn an income way after oil and gas is gone, because these resources are not renewable.
22 restaurants will be taking part in the week of activities. The minister is urging them to aim for higher standards and to use local produce to create a lasting experience for visitors. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips on Friday commissioned a $96 million regional disaster management centre in Lethem Region 9. The centre is the first of its kind in the country. The Prime Minister says it is a significant milestone in the country's disaster risk reduction, as it will help to address issues of climate change such as flooding and droughts, which the region is prevalent to.
These events must be treated as stronger warning signals triggered by climate change, and we must adopt a more proactive approach and implement mitigative measures to reduce disaster impacts. In all cases, the onus is on governments, and I say governments here because I'm talking about governments at all levels, central, regional, and municipal or local government level, to intervene during a disaster to bring relief to the people affected.
The Prime Minister says it is crucial that municipalities countrywide develop a disaster management plan, even as governments strengthen the regional disaster management system.
Currently, the National Multi-Hazard Early Warning System is being enhanced. This system will assess the risk of localities like Region 9, like Lethem, and determine the type of hazard, vulnerability, and risk. The early warning mechanism is designed to ensure that disaster management is integrated at the regional level among all stakeholders, inclusive of central government, civil society, private sector, and community-based organizations.
The Regional Disaster Management Centre serves as a shelter, a warehouse for disaster relief supplies, as well as a disaster management conference area. That's it for this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related information, do log on to our website, dpi.gov.gy, and their social media platforms as well. Goodbye.